Well, good evening, everybody. Just going to check up and hopefully everything's working okay. 6 people looking. Good. So let's hope that the number is growing. That's grand. I'm going to start out tonight with "Oh Jesus, I Have Promised," and I'm going to do it to the Wolvercote tune. We sang this last week at chapel to the Hathrop Castle tune, the sort of modern tune, but this tune by W.H. Ferguson is rather lovely, and I'm going to start out with that sort of words for, I suppose, the new year, as we're still in the sort of season of the new year, already 2 weeks in. Unreal. 704 from Hymns and Psalms. Well, that's meant to be my speaking camera. There we are, look. I've had this. Will you do what you're meant to do, please? Well, I'm just in shot. This week I've added some extra speakers and things to the organ. You won't notice any different out there because everything is being done, everything goes out direct from the computer online. But I decided I'd get some extra speakers and just to spread the sound around the room a bit. And I also had the chance to get something which we call a subwoofer. I got a subwoofer, and that gives me more bottom end. Doesn't give me the list of the hymns I'm meant to be playing. Oh, there they are. So I've been fiddling about these. The speakers are really quite heavy to lift, and I was risking things somewhat by moving them around and crawling about underneath, and one overbalanced and came down and bashed me on the head and the hand and all the rest of it. So I'm going to say playing the organ can be dangerous for your health. Fiddling about with them as well can also be dangerous for your health. But I have got it all working. I hope everything's working okay. Let's just hope so. Some of you who may have seen in the paper and online that Dr. Francis Jackson died this week at the grand old age of 104. Very sprightly man, still playing, over 100 years old, and he has been a sort of legend in his lifetime as far as the York Minster goes, and the wonderful instrument there and the recordings that he made and all the stuff that he's done over the years. Sadly, he passed away. So I had a suggestion for the first hymn came from Callum McCausland. They're up in Somerset, and this next hymn, For the Fruits of His Creation, to Francis Jackson's rather lovely East Acklam tune, a village up there in Yorkshire, and Francis wrote this rather lovely tune. So 342 in Hymns and Psalms. I might play it all the way through, and it is gorgeous. I remember talking about it before, and how the melody rises right to the end, a little sequence, and does it twice. Rather lovely. lovely tune, really lovely tune. So dear Francis Jackson wrote several compositions for the organ and several compositions for choirs, and just did so much. And he lived long enough to see the rebuilt organ there in York, which has undergone a big restoration or rebuild. He was lived long enough to see that, and I gather he was very pleased with what had been done. And there's a legendary recording by Francis Jackson of Norman Cocker's tuba tune on a tuba mirabilis, which is really quite something. My tuba here is pretty big. On this Hereford instrument, but the one at York just about obliterate full organ. So yet to get my hands on it, but there we go. And of course the current director of music is Robert Sharp, who was here in Truro and with us for several years. Wonderful musician. 269 from Mission Praise. I was talking to my dear friends this afternoon and said, right, have you got a favourite hymn? So Mabel said, this is Mabel Bassett, and that name may be known to some of you. Mabel taught at Redruth School. Wonderful lady, and a good solid teacher and a no-nonsense customer and so on, and has been a good friend for lots of years now. I used to teach her husband Jack to play the organ, we had a lot of fun together doing that, and we've kept in touch ever since. So this is for Mabel this evening. I do not know what lies ahead, and I thought, my goodness me, we don't, do we? What a lovely choice. And I'm going to say it's a day or two since I've played this, but I think sometimes it's as well, we don't know what's ahead. So then we're not going to be surprised if something turns up which we weren't expecting. 269 in Mission Praise. I'll play all the way through and then 3 verses. camera sorted out. So good job. Sometimes we don't know what lies ahead, well, just don't know, do we? It's the present we've got to think about. I can update you now on several people. Earlier yesterday, my brother, another brother in London, Nathan, who's works in the courts and things, the magistrates' court in London, and generally helps to sort out those people who've done wrong. And he discovered that he had one test for positive for COVID, did two more and they were negative. I did a PCR test and it's come back negative, so he's fine. That's good. Now Jonathan Keane is still in high dependency in Trelisk, and it's a day-by-day process. Debbie Coates, that's Jonathan's sister, does do regular updates, and I think you can probably just go and look on her page as to what's going on. And I speak to Dennis, and I've spoken to him this evening, and it's going on day by day, so that's encouraging. Dennis, I think I may have mentioned in the week, he before Christmas had a knee replacement, or half a knee replacement. Don't ask me how you do that, but and he was doing really well, but getting up he managed to tweak it and was in a lot of pain. I think he said on a scale of 1 to 10 he was about 15, so, and he said he was surprised he didn't hear me shouting down 12 beds. And then Mike Diamond, I had a message on Friday to say that Mike had come home, delighted, wonderful, and half an hour later, whoops, he's got to go back for some tests. So had the news just before started this evening to say that Mike is now home again and the tests have worked out okay. So that's good news indeed. So, but please continue to remember them in your prayers. All these people. I'm also aware of the fact that, of course, you don't know who I'm talking about, but just to, I mean, God knows who they are. So, so it's Mike Diamond, Jonathan Keane, Nathan Payne, Davey. Although Nathan is fine. 571 from Hymns and Psalms. Sometimes a light surprises the Christian while he sings. I can't remember doing this hymn for a long time, so that'd be nice to do it this evening. Why is that doing that? Oh, you're being an idiot. Right. Sometimes a light surprises. words are not dissimilar to some that we have already thought about. We cheerfully can say, now let the unknown morrow bring with it what it may. Well, I have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Just thinking sort of aloud. Aloud? Yes. That member of our church congregation, John Summers, is having a face-to-face consultation with his doctor following some x-rays. John's got trouble with his back, and having had some x-rays and things, they will be able to suggest how they move things forward for John. So John Summers, John is an integral part of the Sandbells team. He sort of heads up and looks after what's going on there. So be thinking of John Summers. Lots of wonderful stories to tell as John, so he's going to see his doctor tomorrow and get the results of some tests. So another one to think of, if you'll be so kind. 229. Oh love, how deep, how broad, how high, it fills the heart with ecstasy. God, the Son of God, should take our mortal form for mortal sake. So we come around to our last hymn, but before we do that, there are some birthdays today. And I can't remember all of them, I'm afraid. Paul Ethan Bright, who sings alto in the cathedral choir, and Lorraine Fosdyke, who's the organist at Newquay Parish Church. And there are some others, so forgive me for not mentioning you all by name, but it is birthdays today. And Sandra Basusto, who actually listens in probably the next day. It's her birthday today, and my concluding piece this evening, she requested would I play, so I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But first we will do a happy birthday, which we've not done one for ages, have we? So here's a happy birthday. So I'm finishing with 652. I hope I got that right. Lord, dismiss us with thy blessing. I did put down something else, but anyway, I'm going to play 652. Lord, dismiss us with thy blessing. A couple of verses. Today was the last service at Falmouth Central Methodist Church, and their last service down there today, and I'll be moving on to a new building. Some of you may know the building was going to cost quite a lot of money to put right, in fact a lot of money. So they are going to find new premises. The premises has been sold, and remains to be seen what happens to it. But a sad day for the Methodists in Falmouth. So think of them as well in your prayers. Moving on to pastures new and leaving behind the things which they have had for so many years. Sort of, you might guess I'd know a bit about the organ as a beauty, which came from, I think it's a Wadsworth organ, which came from Yorkshire, and it's a quality instrument. And I know my father talks about seeing it being put in the church when he worked for Scott Brown's, the men's outfitters. It says that there were 700 people in the chapel for the opening recital given by John Winter, and I can claim to be one of the 700. I remember it quite well. Well, I think I can. I remember being there, and I think John Winter played a trumpet tune by somebody, so there we go. So, Lord, dismiss us with thy blessing, and then I'll tell you about a little piece I'm going to play to finish. Let's just do all that again. Sorry, I hadn't turned the microphone on. I'm going to conclude with the War March of the Priests from Athalie by Mendelssohn. And this is for Sandra Basusto down there at Rouen Minor. She asked would I play this, so I'm happy to do that. I was going to say this isn't the arrangement I usually play from, but never mind. I'm sure it'll all work out somehow or other. Here we go. War March, the Priests. there we are. Take care, stay safe, good night, and God bless.